What's going on, Giants fans? This is Cart from NY. I'm back here with Big Sean again for another Giants video. So, a couple days ago, actually yesterday, I put out a tweet and on Facebook on some groups. I wanted to ask you guys a couple questions. I asked you guys, could you give me some questions or anything you guys wanted to talk about, whether it was the NFL draft, whether it was positional, like who would fit in a certain position, where do you see some guys in free agency ending up on the Giants. So I'm gonna answer those questions for you guys today. I had plenty of questions. I mean, I've got some of you guys asked a lot of the same questions as well. So I'm going to answer all of them today here with Big Sean as well. He's going to give his opinion, and also he has a list of guys as well that he's going to talk about, some edge rushers that we've been talking about as well, because the Giants are going to need some. So we're going to get right to that. You have anything you want to add on to that?
Yeah, just I hope everyone's being safe. We know the coronavirus it's been bad. It's been getting a lot of people out there. So make sure you're washing your hands. Keep your 6 feet social distance. Take care of your family, your friends, co-workers, and everything. Make sure you're doing the right thing because we got to beat this, guys. Like Sean was saying, we just want to talk about the draft's in 20 days.
Yeah, it's coming really fast.
It's right around the corner, guys. We've been reading information on players, looking at mock drafts constantly, watching shows, doing our own research. We know it seems like it's coming down for the Giants at that 4th pick. With Dave Gettleman, it's like it might be around 3 players like Isaiah Simmons, who might be the favorite in the clubhouse, and then there's Tristan Wirfs, the offensive tackle out of University of Iowa, and then it's Jedrick Willis, the offensive lineman out of University of Alabama. We know Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson. So
yeah, and also another thing we're going to talk about too is the rumors that came out about the Giants. Pretty much people in the organization are believing that they will take Simmons. We will talk about that in a little bit as well. So
my opinion differs on that, guys.
But yeah, me and him we're a little different on that now, but we'll talk about that later. But so the first question I got here was, do you see Sam Beal in the slot, and where do you see him in the future? Well, right now, Sam Beal, it's going to be tough for him to get a lot of time in there, especially with Bradbury and Baker. Now, I still think that Beal has a chance. I mean, he missed 2 really good years that he could have used. We really didn't see him early. He didn't get that time. He missed 2 seasons, and so it's going to be tough for him to get in there.
He played a lot last year.
I mean, he didn't really get that much either last year with Janoris Jenkins. So it's going to be really tough. I mean, I still see Baker being the outside guy with Bradbury, and then eventually I think hopefully Sam Beal gets a chance. Right now he has a lot to prove. I mean, we're going to see, though, because we have a new coaching staff, and like I said,
coaching matters, guys.
And yeah, it does. I mean, Jerome Henderson, I think he'll do a solid job developing Beal. Beal, what he has to get better at is just off the line of scrimmage. He's got to be able to stick with his guy off the line of scrimmage. He's not doing a good job at that. If you watch the tape, he didn't do a really good job at that. But I have some guys that I see the Giants going after that they could put in the nickel safety or nickel cornerback situation. So for free agency, Logan Ryan's still out there. The Giants, if they really wanted to, they could sign him for a 2-year deal. It won't be that bad at all. It'll be very effective. They can use that contract, probably like a 2-year deal. Logan Ryan, I don't know if you guys know this, he ranked top 5 in most categories for a cornerback last season. He ranked top 5 in tackles. He had 4.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, which he tied for first, and he had 18 passes defended. So all around, he's a very competitive cornerback that we could put in the slot. So what do you think the Giants?
Well, I think that they're Sean. That I think they're still going to look at some young players in the draft and stuff. I'm not sure if they're going to spend any more money. If they bring a veteran, it's going to be after the June 1st cap cuts. You know what I mean? But I think now it's all draft mode now. I don't think, just in my opinion, I don't know if they're going to bring any more free agents in. But like I said, after June 1st.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I also
we'll see what
had,
happens going
yeah, I
forward.
have some guys also in the draft that played the nickel cornerback position as well. So Essane Bassi started 3 years. He had 41 solo tackles, 1 pick, 11 passes deflected. That's pretty solid. Bassi, when he in college, this is I read this off of what's it called? It was off of a Giants blog
Big
that I
Blue
saw.
View.
No, it was I forgot which one it was, but
Interactive.
Bassi has some of the smoothest cover skills out of all college player. He's fluid in the hips, and he has an elite trait to him. And he also what he does really well is he plays on the ball really well. He's good like when the ball's in the air. He's really good at making deflections, which is something the Giants in the past have done pretty solid at that cornerback position when they had Terrell Thomas and Antrell Rowe. They were really good at deflecting that ball in the air. So I have him. I also have Levante Taylor from Florida State. He was actually a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. He's ranked the best in his position, but he didn't do so well. But he still has potential. They moved him to safety at Florida State. I think you could put him as like a third safety if you wanted to. It's a possibility the Giants could go that way. But these guys I'm looking at more later in the rounds because I still think if the Giants go to Simmons, if they don't put Simmons at weak side linebacker, they can go put him at free safety that covers up the deal.
Yeah, I would put
love
him in
to-
safety and just let him roam.
Yeah.
Just send him in on blitz packages. He's fast enough to drop back in the coverage, and we know he's a great ball hawker, so he'll be going after the ball. I know a lot of people like him as a Swiss Army knife, but I really want him in a set position, either at the linebacker position or at the safety. That's if they draft him.
Yeah, we'll have to see with that position. I mean, it just depends on what the Giants want to do. I mean, Joe Judge is going to have a lot of say. So is the secondaries coach Jerome Henderson, who he wants to see back there.
And this is going to be Patrick Graham's defense. Yeah.
Yeah, so
right.
we're going to have to see. Next question I had on here. Where do you see Spencer Pulley? Right now, Spencer Pulley, I look at him as a backup center. And I don't think the Giants are going to bring back John Jalapeno. If you ask me, I don't see that happening.
I don't see him in the picture. There's the Ruiz guy, the center out of who's got a lot of steam going for him at the University of Michigan.
Cesar Ruiz. Yeah, and Cesar Ruiz, he started 31 games for Michigan with 26 at center and 5 at guard.
Yeah,
quick off the snap.
Somebody at Wisconsin is a young man at the University of Oregon too.
And like I said, Cushenberry
LSU,
too. Cushenberry, that dude started all 13 games at center. He's very powerful at the line of scrimmage.
That's
He's
at
really good in the
LSU,
run
yeah.
game, but people question his passing coverage because he's not really he doesn't have a lot to move around with. He's very tight with everything that he does, but I mean scouts, it's scouts.
Well, that's going to be very important, guys, because we need a center who's going to be able to command and control his position. Because he's going to have to be the quarterback of that offensive line, you know what I mean? So we need somebody who has good flexibility, who moves his hips well, and not only is he good in run blocking, but he's good in pass blocking too. Because, with Daniel Jones holding the ball, which I think will get fixed because of Jason Garrett, I think Jason Garrett will correct that problem.
Yeah, and another guy I have up there is Matt Hennessy, similar to Jason Kelsey, which I like to hear that when I heard that. He was awarded practice number 3 for being the toughest player at Temple. So this guy is a tough player. He shows nastiness at the line. The weakness is he did have a concussion in the past and sometimes loses track of his assignment. I still think that'll be fixable even with the new offensive line coach. So
Mark Colombo. And the thing is, guys, we have to have that line straightened out. I think Colombo, bringing him in, is excellent. This is a very good draft with centers.
It
The
is.
guards
It's
is
slept on.
okay, but the centers and the tackles is a very good draft. Yeah, this 2020 draft.
I also have Tyler Biaz, the freshman All-American, 3-year starter. He's also got to look at limited upside, but he'll do pretty solid. Another question I had as well. A couple of you guys actually asked me this. How do you feel about Colombo? What difference will he make? Colombo's going to make a really big difference.
Huge.
I mean,
It's-
I'm
you're
gonna
gonna see it.
name you some of the. Think about the guys they had. They had Frederick,
This is on
Tyron
the Dallas
Smith,
Cowboys
Lael
offensive
Collins, Zach Martin. You can name the list. Cowboys offensive line was great, but the Lael Collins, for example, I mean, he's the guy that's really been like performing really well for their offensive line so far. Last season, or I think in 2019, he had the highest grade PFF grade for any offensive lineman. So he was performing the best out of all offensive linemen at his position. I mean, that dude was phenomenal. They had the second ranked offensive line in preseason rankings last season. And yeah, I still think Colombo's going to make these guys
Yeah.
better. Dave Solder's going to be better. Promise me. He's going to be better. They probably might move him to right tackle, or he's going to stay at left tackle.
I think they'll keep him at left tackle. This will probably be his last.
If they draft worse,
Right.
he'll stay at left tackle.
I like Soldier. We know that he's been going through a lot with his young son, who has a serious physical condition and stuff. And but I think Colombo, who played for the Cowboys too as an offensive lineman, big man, 6'8". He'll have these guys in shape. He'll have them ready. He will teach them the proper techniques. Because that's what he did with Dallas, and they had probably to me.
One of the best offensive lines you could ever say.
So I'm glad he's part of the coaching staff.
Yeah. Two of you guys actually asked me likelihood of Marcus Golden being gone, which we're assuming is probably he's not going to be.
Yeah,
back.
he's a free agent.
Yeah.
I don't think he was a scheme guy.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying
I don't,
too.
or a system guy, because a lot of those guys came in with Betcher's defense,
yeah.
Coming over from the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. So a lot of you guys asked, what options do the guys have? I mean, right now, I already like Kyler Fackrell. I think it's going to be a prove-it deal. If you ask me if he has 8.5 plus sacks, I expect him to be back with the Giants on an extended contract. I like Kyler Fackrell. Blake Martinez speaks highly of him, same as Patrick Graham. We're going to see, because he was behind Preston as Zadarius Smith, but the year before that, he had 10.5 sacks. So that's a guy I like.
Yeah, some guys, some reporters or writers and stuff tried to downplay his 10 sacks. Those were legitimate 10 sacks. And they said, well, the next season he didn't do as well. The thing is, they had two phenomenal bookends on Green Bay, so it was hard for him to get playing time. He won't have a problem getting playing time with the New York Giants. And plus, he said he really felt comfortable coming to the Giants, because when Patrick Graham was one of the defensive coaches, I don't think he was a defensive coordinator, he was a defensive line or linebackers coach at Green Bay. He taught him a lot. He liked his philosophy, and he said he was glad to come to the Giants because he's a great teacher of men and stuff, and he learned a lot from him. So that's one of the reasons why he's here.
Yeah, and if you guys want to ask, now there's a couple guys people were talking about on the. I remember, I forgot what it was I was reading, but there's a couple guys. I still think I think it was Jordan Renaud put out that there's a possibility the Giants will bring in another guy as a pass rusher later in free agency. It'll probably be like a Cameron Wake or someone, just like on a 1-year deal. It won't. It's just for depth. That's pretty much what they're gonna do. But for draft, I have a couple guys out here. He has a couple guys as well. We're gonna get really in depth right there right now, because the pass rush and the D line and the outside linebacker position is really important for this team right now, because it's what we've been struggling with the most recently. So, Big Sean's
just a couple of edge rushers. Now, a pipe dream is if Chase Young falls.
Exactly. If he and it's a possibility. It's still on the table.
It could happen.
Still on the table.
And you have Kavion chasing at LSU.
Yeah, that's a guy I speak highly of too.
Gross Matos,
Yeah, and Gross Matos, he played with Sean Spencer, like when Sean Spencer was coaching at Penn State, and they've had a top 5 pass rush at Penn State for the years that Sean Spencer was there. I mean, talking about it'd be a great add-on if the Giants can get him.
Yeah, and then you got Julian Aqua, Romeo Aqua, who's with the Giants.
Yeah, it's his brother, and it sucks because I have some info on Julian Okwara. He started in 2018. He had 8 sacks, 12 and a half tackles for loss. He tied the team in sacks. He's a lanky edge rusher. In 2019, he got injured, so he missed majority of his season because of broken fibula. But he forced 2 fumbles, 4 sacks, block kick. I like Okwara. The only thing I question about is his height. So he's only like 6'2".
Well,
Hey, Terrell Suggs.
Dwight Freeney was only 6'1", guys. Really,
Yeah.
probably 5'11", when he was all those years at the Colts of Syracuse guy.
Yeah.
And he won a Super Bowl with them, and he was a great pass rusher. There's also Joshua Uche out of Michigan and Terrell Lewis at Alabama. These are all edge rushers.
Yeah, I have a lot of guys on here, guys, really quickly. I want to get to them really quickly. Zach Bond, if he falls to the Giants are going to take him. If they go offensive line in the first round, Zach Bond will be the second round pick. This guy, if you look at his stats, worked out with Brett Bielema at Wisconsin during his pro day. He had 12 and a half sacks last season and a pick 6 for a touchdown. This guy, he shows speed off the edge. I like him. He reminds me a little bit of Kyle Van Noy type of player. I like him. If he falls there, I would not be surprised. The other guy I have on here is Travis Gibson from Tulsa. He's a sleeper guy in the later rounds you could find. He had 89.7 pass rush grade at the 3-4 defensive end. Also, Curtis Weaver. Me and Big Sean have talked about this guy. His stats are really underrated. This guy had 2017 freshman All-American with 11 sacks. In 2019, he had 18.5 tackles for loss and 13.5 sacks with 3 pass breakups and a pick. That's a guy, if he falls to the Giant, I think he could really do damage.
Yeah, I think he's on their radar. As you know, guys, the Giants, they usually keep a tight lip. They don't let a lot of information out.
Mm-hmm.
But
he's a guy I know has to be on their list.
He's somebody that they're definitely interested in.
So next I have right here is wide receivers that fit the Giants' needs. A couple of you guys asked me that. There's plenty of receivers in here that fit. It depends. It depends on what you want. You have raw talent like Colin Johnson. You have and Chase Claypool. You got pretty much already defined receivers like Michael Pittman. And then you have guys that really could be all-stars, which is Denzel Mims and T. Higgins. Those are the guys I have the Giants looking at because they are at least 6'3" or taller. Denzel Mims is the most impressive one. He's 6'3". He had 2,000-yard-plus receiving seasons, 12 touchdowns last season for 66 receptions, 28 total touchdowns in the 3 years that he was there. So he performed really well. I had Colin Johnson, who's 6'6". He's the raw talent. He'll probably be there 4th or 5th round, I'm assuming. 3-year starter. His stats aren't that impressive, but he has a little injury history. So there's him, Claypool, 6'4", guy we've been high on as well. 1,000 yards last season, 13 touchdowns. So he had a really impressive season. Michael Pittman, 6'4", 1,200 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns, 101 receptions. So he got a lot of catches. He was the best player on that team. And then T. Higgins, who I would love if he would fit the offense really well too. 6'4", 1,100 plus yards, 20 yards per catch, 13 touchdowns. So you got a list of guys you can go for.
Yeah, and Sean, I got a couple of guys. I got 5 guys that I really like that will be in rounds 2 to 4 for the Giants, or even round 2 to 5. Chase Claypool, Notre Dame. We know about him. He's like 6'4".
Yeah, I love Chase Claypool. He impressed a lot of guys.
And he played with an okay quarterback, not a great quarterback. I think he'd be a good pick. I'm really high on Michael Pittman because his dad played in the NFL, so he has a really good knowledge of the game. He didn't play with another guy who didn't play with good quarterback play, but 6'4". What I like about Pittman is he can go up and get the ball. If you watch a lot of his tape, he jumps high and gets the ball. We haven't had somebody like that
Since
since
Plaxico.
Plaxico and Amani Toomer.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Ramses Barton, but he never panned
Knicks
out.
was more of like a possession
You know what
type
I mean?
of guy.
Yeah, so
Same
he
as
does that. Denzel
Mario.
Mims, sick athletic ability.
That
Didn't
guy's-
have a good route tree. When he's more like a go route guy or just throwing bounds. But at the Senior Bowl, he ran a really good route tree in front of all the scouts, GMs, and coaches and stuff. So he's very fast. He's just a great athlete, and I think he'd be a great addition. Antonio Gandy Golden, I like him too. 6'4", kind of built like Mike Evans. Really goes up and gets the ball. Really. Now, some people may question the competition he played against at the FCS, but he's a very, very polished athlete. Had a little bit of problems with drops, but that can be fixed because when Darius Slayton, when the Giants brought him in, like the first couple of weeks of training camp, Pat Sherman said, "Oh my God, he drops everything we throw at him." But as you can see, through practice, he got better, and he hardly, his drops were severely limited. So he's somebody that Dave Gettleman will definitely be looking at. I know he'll be looking at all these guys, and then Colin Johnson, the raw talent. Didn't play with a great quarterback. His quarterback was okay.
Yeah, Sam Ellinger, he wasn't
It was
really
okay,
good.
but this is a guy who probably needs work on running routes.
Yeah.
Because in the NFL, you got to be able to run routes. You know what I mean? You
gotta be
can't
able
just
to-
run a
yeah.
go route all the time. And then there's another guy, he's not on there, is the Texas A&M wide receiver. He needs some work, but I think he's a good addition.
He's just
too.
always hurt. That's
And
the
then
problem. I have with him.
Antonio from out of
Camden,
Clemson.
Clemson.
Yeah, the
T. Higgins?
T. Higgins, excuse me. He's another good player.
Yeah,
You know,
T.
played
Higgins is
with
the
a
best
talented
out of all of them.
quarterback.
I mean, he's the most polished.
Yeah, we got to see, is his game gonna translate to the NFL better than how it was in college?
And one
because
thing
he
you
played-
can't say about Clemson receivers, most of the Clemson receivers work out. I mean,
Yeah,
look
they've
at
been
D
very
Hop.
successful.
Martavius Bryant was probably the only one. Sammy Watkins, he resurrected his career. He won a Super Bowl.
Then there's
Mike Williams,
at
yep,
the,
on San Diego.
yeah,
Or
LA
now it's
Chargers,
LA,
yeah.
but yeah.
and he's a good one too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they've been putting out some really good wide receivers.
Yeah. What next question I had? A couple of you guys asked as well. A lot of you guys actually asked this question. Where do I see Isaiah Simmons fitting? I've said it. I would like to see him at the weak side linebacker position, but it just depends on what they want to do. Now they have options though. If they do put him at weak side, and they can either keep Julian Love at the free safety, or they could draft another one. Now, what if they want to draft one? That means in the first round they're more likely to move back. I'd say let's say they move with like the Dolphins and they move back with the Chargers because they're desperate for quarterbacks. They can do that because then they'll be able to get a second and a third. Now, in that second and third, you'll be able to draft your receiver and you'll be able to draft or offensive lineman, which I would hope they would do in the second round. You draft an offensive lineman, a receiver, an offensive lineman, and a safety, so you can run a 3 safety set like they used to in the past, which worked out really well for them.
Yeah. Now Sean's saying, because he's very high on Simmons, I am too, but I still think they're going to draft Tristan Wirfs. Now, if they don't draft Simmons, which I'm assuming they're not, I think they're going to take Wirfs. If they take a safety, there's 5 I got. Grant Delpit, LSU.
I like Grant Delpit. He got that injury bug in him last season,
We got Xavier McKinney out of Alabama, good
which
player.
I'm very high on.
Antonio Winfield Jr., if you guys know, his dad played with Buffalo, Minnesota.
He's a sleeper. He's
Kind of small, but he's good. Then there's this guy who's like just rose up the charts. He would probably been a 7th round pick a year ago, but now he might go in the fourth, fifth, and that's Kyle Duggar at a Lenoir Ryan School, a small school, and then there's Jeremy Chin out of Southern Illinois. So, even if you, let's just say you got Simmons and you put him, like Sean said, as the weak side linebacker. You can look at one of these guys, maybe the guy in his third or fourth or fifth round. But I think the Giants, they're going to go either Simmons or offensive tackle in the first round. In the second round, it could be an edge rusher, it could be a center, or one of these talented wide receivers. So, we're going to have to wait and see what happens here.
Like I said, Julian Love is people have been asking about him. I like Julian. I think if you ask me, Julian Love was the smartest player that they drafted last season. He came out of Notre Dame. Notre Dame players and coaches have said that guy is really smart. He really studies the playbook really well. Julian Love, he did really good last year. I think he impressed a lot of people more than people thought. Like, people really thought, they drafted him to cornerback. Okay, they moved him around. He did his job. Very impressive dude, man. It just depends.
We're going to see. They can't, all we can go off is speculation and guessing and stuff. Because usually June 1st with those cuts, there's going to be somebody available. So they're going to draft their players, the Giants, and then after the June 1st cuts, they'll be looking for some guys too, some veterans that may be out there they bring in who may fit Patrick Graham's scheme or they think would be a good piece to add to their team as they move forward.
Yeah. Also, a couple of you guys asked. Matt Miller. I forgot about Matt Miller. Matt Miller in his he's talking about people are asking questions. Yeah, people are asking questions. Matt Miller, they asked about Simmons. Simmons, he said he's hearing a lot of people in the Giants organization that are really high on Simmons, like really, really high on him.
A lot of lying goes on.
I mean, there's lying. If I'm hearing it from this, I mean, this is a guy I trust Matt Miller with his stuff. I would really like. I'm telling you, man, Simmons would fit perfect with what the Giants are trying to do. And if they could get him, they bring in another safety and a pass rusher. That's all they need on defense is a safety, a pass rusher, and an outside linebacker. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. I promise you. The offensive line, we know. We're going to fix that. Tackle, and center.
Guys, this is where I differ with Sean. I have to protect Daniel Jones. He's my number one asset, guys. We know he holds the ball, has a tendency to hold the ball much longer, which, like I said, will get fixed by Jason Garrett. But I got to protect my quarterback, man. He's supposed to be there for the next 10 to 12, 13 years. So this is a really good draft with offensive tackles.
Yeah.
They're very athletic. They're strong.
The only thing I have
I need to get one now.
The only thing I have
now, guys. I have to draft him. Dave Gettleman needs to draft Wirfs, or is it Willis, or is it Beckham, or even Thomas?
The problem I have with the Giants,
Georgia, you got to draft one of these guys.
I have a problem because the problem is with the Giants is if you watch a lot of their games, there was at least 4 to 5 games last season. They could have freaking won the game, but Ogletree and Mayo can't cover to save their lives. And Lorenzo Carter, he has to get better in coverage too. He's probably considered a pass rusher at this point. He's got to improve on it. I mean, if you look, they gave up so many yards. How many times did we scream and yell on third down, 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 11s, 3rd and 2s, and they were just getting thrown all over. And if the Giants would have made those transitions, they probably would have won it a couple more games.
Okay, and I agree with him. That's the thing. But this is where it comes down to which Pat Shermer and his coaching staff had a problem with last year. We didn't have that 4-minute offense to run the ball. Now you put Wirfs in at the right, and you draft one of these centers. You can run the ball with Barkley, and you got Deion Lewis. You can run that clock out. Yeah, run that clock out, guys. You know
I don't want to make Daniel Jones a game.
Run that clock out. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not saying that. But if when you got that stout offensive line, you get that tackle, you get that center, run that clock out. You got an all-world running back. To me, the best running back in football.
Yeah, he is the best.
Give him the ball. and you got a really smart backup guy in Deion Lewis too. You know, give those guys a
Yeah,
ball.
and
Let
also-
them run behind Wirfs and
Yeah.
Willis and one of those guys.
And also, I expect the Giants to draft a running back, like I've said. Kelly out of UCLA. I think he's the sleeper guy. There's also JJ from Arizona, who is a pretty slept-on guy. But expect the Giants to go get a running back.
But
They really need another
I think
running
they'll
back.
get. I think they'll get somebody in the late rounds of
Yeah.
because you got Lewis.
But they just
Yeah, I mean,
you need.
they'll-
I
they'll
mean,
get
you have
another
to have
back
another running back because
in the
these
later
guys.
rounds.
Yeah,
and
you have to have another.
undrafted
You have
free
to look at what 49ers did. Get into so they just ran and ran
Yeah, and they got a
ran
good
that
offensive
ball.
line,
And-
guys.
and they have three like solid runners.
Yeah, and they ran that 4-minute offense and wore the clock down.
But the problem is we have to make sure Daniel Jones is going to be is he going to be that guy, which I assume he's going to be that guy. But he's got this year. He's got to have a huge year this year. I expect Daniel Jones to at least throw for 4,000 yards. He has to have a big
Yeah,
year.
at least he'll throw for 4,000 yards and probably like 34 touchdown passes. He had a lot of touchdown passes last year.
Yeah, and if he
And he sat out 2 games.
A lot of people want to say this. If he didn't sit
I'm
out
not
those
saying
2
the ones he didn't
games.
start. That's fine.
No,
I'm saying
people.
the 2 games
If he didn't
sat
sit out these 2 games and he didn't get injured, those 4 games, I guarantee you, Daniel Jones would have easily broke the touchdown record.
He probably would have had
Baker
30 touchdown
Mayfield. He would have
passes.
easily broke it. He probably would have broke it by at least a couple. I mean, it just sucks what happened. I mean, and I know Pat Shermer wanted to get him in, but they didn't get him in because Mara wanted to keep. You know.
Well, Eli's
Eli-
gone now, so and we love Eli, but it was time to move on. It's a new start. You have a new quarterback. You have a new head coach. You know, you still have an all-world running back. You have really good wide receivers. You have hopefully your good tight end coming back. Plus, you got a good blocking tight end, and you got another good backup tight end, Caden Smith. So, you know,
Yep. So that's going to do it all for us Giants fans. You guys can follow me on Twitter at @S_C1313, as well as the new Twitter for this account, which is Car from NY, straight up all lowercase. Also, I will have the podcast out probably either tonight or tomorrow. Most likely tomorrow, but it could happen tonight.
yeah,
So
we'll-
we'll see.
yeah.
We're gonna have a lot of stuff. I'm probably gonna do a mock draft 2.0
yeah,
probably
we're
either
gonna
tomorrow or the next.
Yeah, we're gonna have we'll probably have a mock draft tomorrow. So be on there. We will have a mock draft tomorrow.
Yeah. So
You know what I mean? So be ready for that.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna go do a 7th round, and the Giants have four picks in the 7th round, which hopefully, if they make that trade, just like move down. I wouldn't go past 6. Do not go past 6. Maybe with the Chargers or some
Yeah.
people are saying 8 or 9. I
Now,
think that's very, very dangerous.
Jaguars might be desperate too.
But because you don't want to lose out on one of those offensive linemen.
All right.
So you know.
We'll catch you guys later. You guys stay tuned. I hope you guys stay
Like our
safe, stay
page.
clean, and
Give
take
us-
care of yourselves. Please stay social
Respond.
distance if you can from others that are ill or feel any symptoms. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go Giants.
The Giants.